First, a few sounds. So this isn't a review so much as an exploration. I'm biased. I really like this pedal. I like the company, and as you'll see, he literally etched blank forms onto my copy of the pedal. So how could I not fall in love? But this is a really interesting one. This pedal is admittedly hard to control, super hard to control, but it takes you in interesting places. And maybe if you read the manual, like really dug into what he's written online, you could be able to control, you could know how all of these circuits are interacting with each other. But for me, I'm just playing around and sort of seeing how things sound with different combinations. So for example, if I play that again, and start moving these around, that's cool. Okay, so I have no idea how to get back to where I was, but I definitely found some interesting spots along the way. So I personally love devices like this that sort of just unleash you with a physical phenomena. This is just circuits, analog circuits interacting with each other in interesting ways. And the maker of this pedal, Analog Music Company, did not put guardrails for you on that. They didn't try to limit where you can go with it. So it's going to allow you to go in a bunch of directions that might be not where you want to be headed, but are definitely going to send you into some happy accidents territory. But also that dynamic sometimes adds a few, like a couple of steps after the pedal that are necessary. And for this one, I find that rolling off the high end is something I have to do just about all the time, which I am doing on this video. So if I go back to... I'm going to go back to this sound and just let it play for a moment. And I'm going to go back and forth in post between having EQ on and having no EQ whatsoever, so you can hear the difference. Here it is with EQ, no EQ. With EQ, no EQ. So like I said, I'm going to leave that EQ on for the rest of the video. Technically speaking, I'm rolling off the highs, let's see, from about 10K above, sometimes a little lower, like 8K, but somewhere in there. All right, so another thing I just want to show you is how well this can act as a distortion pedal once you find a spot you like. I'm going to turn the level up over here on the synth itself. And back down. So that is super nice, and it gets nice and kind of noisy and a little bit voltage starved sounding if I bring the level way down, like right about here. That's great. Noisy. Oh yeah. That is nice. Okay, so let's get into the controls and what this can do. It can be two different things, which is pretty cool, or they interact, which is kind of how I'm using it right now. It can be a pedal with an input, which I've got the synth going in, obviously, or it can be its own sort of a sound generator. And we're going to explore it that way for a moment. So to start, I'm just going to try to find a setting. There we go, there's something. So you have two options as far as what's sort of moving the sound. If we go over here, you can impact the sound by this little sensor here, which is sort of theremin-like, though I don't find it to be super sensitive unless you're right on it. But I feel like you can get some interesting things going. So these circuit connections that you can get set up over here also interact in very interesting, unpredictable ways with these over here. We have tone, volume, and gain. but they don't work in exactly the ways you might expect. So this is the only complaint I would make about this pedal. It's just the LFO rate doesn't have a huge range. I'd love it if it could get way up into audio rates and then way down into much slower. That's as slow as it goes. It would be nice if that could go, get down to like 60 seconds or something crazy. And then also, pie in the sky. It would be super nice to have CD control over this. But anyway, I'm going to leave it about there. Now I'm going to see what happens now that we've got an interesting sound going in the pedal itself. If I put something through it, how does it interact? Ooh, that's nice. And what if I try the sensor instead? It's not doing much on that one. Oh, that's cool. Alright, so as you can see, I don't have a ton of control over this thing. I am not exactly making all the choices here. I'm just exploring. So it would be hard in a context-specific sort of a situation to try to go in with this and say, I'm going to get this in this track and make it fit. But as a starting point for ideas or interesting textures, or if you're just building up a sample library and want to put your synths and whatever through sort of an interesting distortion analog mangler, this could be a super fun way to do it. Like I said, I like to filter it after the fact. Also, really dry distortions like this can be really nice with some delay or reverb right after the fact. I would probably use this with another pedal, maybe a Walrus reverb or the Ventris by Source Audio. I don't know. I would mess around with some time-based stuff after this. But it can definitely take you into some interesting directions. And like I said, I love the fact that they made a playground without putting walls on it. I'm going to play a little bit more. Thanks for checking out the video.